Guys, I have heard from you that even though it does not amuse me nearly as much anymore, partially because I'm not in the best of moods.
Yep. We didn't ask Chomsky about Dave Rubin.
We're not going to ask Chomsky about Dave Rubin.
People were upset.
And I am not going to ask Slavoj Žižek. Actually, Žižek might be the only one that I could see a certain scenario where we play Žižek a Rubin clip and we just kind of let him riff.
That would be funny, actually.
That would be funny. I think that's possible. I am not going to ask Cornel West. I think Cornel West will be returning to the show later this summer. I will not ask him about this. Adolph Reed, I'm not going to ask Adolph Reed about Dave Rubin. No, he doesn't have time for it. I really wish. I'm so frustrated that I don't speak Portuguese. It would be like, he says he's interested in ideas, but there are none. And of course we got to talk about the Bolsonaro thing. Maybe that will improve my mood. But I have heard from many of you that it is literally helpful during these times to have a little bit of Dave Rubin riffs. So I can't promise these, but I got to say too, it's almost as if he's answering your calls even more so than I am, because is he putting out some good content here. Here's Dave Rubin, and I want to thank buddy Ronald Reagan. He's the reason I found out about this. This is Dave Rubin. And this is my problem. I don't, whatever. We don't have to be fucking snobs. People watch all sorts of shit. I feel like I am just barely sliding into becoming some sort of adult. Okay. So no judgment. That being said, if the whole setup of your whining about wearing, like, we're still talking about fucking wearing masks as if we have time for that. Just wear the fucking mask. If your whole thing is, I don't want to be treated like a child, this is a funny place where it ends up.
Why is it that I couldn't have gone to the beach this weekend, sat 10 feet away from people on my towel, and enjoyed the sun and had a nice day? Why couldn't we make sure if you have to wear a mask, you have to wear a mask, or they could have signs up saying how you have to stay away from people? Now, would people not observe it all perfectly? Of course. But there's a little risk in life, and there has to be a risk in life. So instead of explaining anything to us as if we're adults, instead they do what you would do to a child, which is just make a commandment, make an order, and you're going to believe it no matter what. And you know what I think is going to happen here? I don't know if you were a fan of the old G.I. Joe cartoons, where they were fighting Cobra and Serpentor and Destro all the time. But every episode of G.I. Joe ended the same way. Cobra would be trying to do something, something very bad for the world, and it wouldn't work. And then Cobra Commander would say, if I can't have it, nobody can. And then he would try to destroy the very thing he was creating. Why is it that I couldn't have...
How the fuck? Okay, first of all, 10 seconds. We are prematurely reopening. The new message from the fucking Trump administration is we just have to live with a pandemic. Over 100,000 people have died, probably more. It's definitely been undercounted. And actually, by the way, you shouldn't shame people for going to the beach. Going to the beach is actually one of the safest places you can go to, as long as you're not, we all know, like, don't be taking fucking body shots off of people. But sitting at the beach outside wearing a mask is actually relatively benign. But that being said, like, I'm sorry. This has to be a comedy segment, but it's like, we're doing it, Dave. We're doing it. We have a massive pandemic that has not been responded to systemically at all. I really am so sorry that there was like a couple of months of sort of lockdown in some places. I know California's closed the beaches down because the thing is spiking back up again. Mm-hmm. But whatever, I shouldn't get all serious. The real point of that segment is, why can't we just be treated like responsible people? It reminds me of G.I. Joe.
How does he know so many G.I. Joe subgroups? Like Cobra, fair enough. Everyone knows Cobra. But I had plenty of G.I. Joes, and like those things have been added in the past 5 years, I feel like.
Like, he's deep in the lore. He's on the wiki.
Yeah.
I had a lot of time to do internet-based research while I can't be free.
I can't.
Probably Larry King's behind it.
This is like Digimon. Where
The joke writes
white dragon.
The joke writes itself. I don't understand. I mean, I guess this is still funny to people, but it's just like, Jesus Christ. We're in 2020 with this dimwit. We've got all these fucking people trying to cancel Noam Chomsky because he wants that free speech. It's just like the reams of nonsense. And now and it's like this guy still, it's like his big, and of course he has nothing else to say. But his big contribution to 2020 is, I don't want to have to take a pandemic seriously.
Yeah.
And here's my big kind of like, fuck you to everybody who might be endangered, who might be immunocompromised or old or something. I'm gonna button that off with some G.I. Joe references. Like, the fuck? Like this is like, was there some type of like performer in the main streets of Rome that did like the dumbest puppet performance in the history of the Republic? Was that like, could you correlate that with the claps of the whole thing?
All I was going to say is that, like, you know, if you ever wanted an argument that, you know, the history is not teleological, it's Dave Rubin. Like, we are not approaching any higher services.
I mean, he went off there. It's like, then I don't even remember all of them.
No, it was bizarre to know that much about G.I. Joe.
Like serious ass G.I. Joe reference.
That's a deep G.I. Joe reference.
Oh my Lord.
Oh my God. That was beautiful. That was, you know what? That was pretty funny. I'll give it. You just watched a Michael Brooks show video. Subscribe to get them all. Why wouldn't you? Don't be foolish. Click subscribe below and become a patron as well. Patreon.com/TMBS. Thanks, everybody.